So you're going to start using that life and business compass, and anything that's not on that, you're going to say no to. If you're invited to something that is a distraction and it's not aligned to where you are trying to go and what you are trying to achieve, you need to say no to it, because if you don't, eventually you'll have to say no to what is aligned on your calendar, what is aligned with your future goal and your compass. And we don't want that. So start using your compass. Welcome to Inspiration Contagion, where we spread inspiration one story at a time. I am your host, Holly Jean Jackson. Each interview spotlights transformational business leaders, their stories, challenges, and advice for how you too can lead yourself and others through inspiration. Learn how you too can achieve peak performance, build more revenue, and lead the legacy you were meant to lead. Time management is a scam. You've color-coded your calendar, downloaded all the apps, made the lists, and you're still exhausted. Why? Because productivity isn't about time, it's about energy, focus, and attention. And right now, your energy and yourself are being hijacked. And this episode is your wake-up call on how you can do this a different way. The real reason you're burned out, and spoiler, it's not your schedule. We live in an era and an age where brain fog makes the headlines constantly. I hear from clients, from individuals, from networking pals, from friends, from family, brain fog. They don't know what the word is for their coffee mug. They don't remember what they walked in the next room to accomplish and do. And the reason is not aging, it's not menopause, it's not all the things. Granted, those can be factors. We're experiencing these at all ages today, and it's because we live in an era of distraction. There is so much noise in the world, whether it be news, pings from your phone, text messages, getting lost in the rabbit hole of social media, you name it. We are living in a distraction era. And it's impossible to follow your schedule when we allow these distractions to take over our lives. But here's the key, and here's the secret on how you can really create a distraction-proof schedule. Take back your energy and stay hyper-focused on what actually matters. So the first thing is there is a no BS framework for taking back your energy. Number one starts with building out your compass for what you want to achieve. What are the 3 business or career goals you're going after in the next 3 months? What are your top 5 life priorities you want your schedule to reflect and for you to feel successful? And within those 5 life priorities, what does success look like? If it's your health, does it mean hip flexibility? Does it mean going to the gym 3 times a week? Does it mean what is that? What are those goals? Be specific so we know what success looks like, how it will feel, so that we can have a metric of success and if we're heading in the right direction. Additionally, across the top of your compass, I want you to rate what is that inspired factor, that legacy factor that gets you out of bed on the most dismal days. Y'all, before recording this, I got out of bed and it is rainy, it is bleak, the news came on, another negative fear-induced story. And I got to tell you, if I didn't have my compass, didn't have my legacy, I would just get back in bed. What's the point, right? But when we have that legacy, that inspired thing that keeps us going every single day, it helps us stay on track. So that's step 1 of this foolproof system. Step 2 is, now that you're clear on what you want to focus on, I want you to go on your phone and your computer and remove and turn off all of the freaking notifications that are not related to your priorities for your life, your core business or career goals, or your legacy. Here's the thing. If we're trying to get a task done and we're distracted by notification, text messages, phone calls, emails, social media, it's going to take us significantly longer to achieve that. But when we actually distraction-proof our lives, we remove these barriers for interruption, we can stay focused and we waste less of our brain power, so we're not stuck in brain fog. That brain fog and brain soup comes simply from trying to multitask, which, y'all, is not something our brains are set up for success to do. In fact, if you think you're good at multitasking, maybe you are for a very short period of time, but our brain only has so much decision-making power each day. And as we age, that becomes smaller and smaller. So we want to be very clear and very intentional and specific on how we use that brain decision-making power. That includes when we switch tasks, when we try to overload ourselves with multiple things all at once. Try to achieve one thing at a time, and that means removing all the distractions, all the interruptions, so you can achieve that thing. If you get distracted by looking at an email, turn off your email, close out your email browser, turn off your phone to get that one thing done. Whatever it means for you to stay focused, make sure you set yourself up for success. How can we stop grinding and start producing from a place of clarity and power? Well, there are so many factors. We've already talked about building that life and business compass. By the way, if you'd like a copy of that download, it's a free gift that we have for all of our listeners and all of our clients and our community. Just send me a DM or put a comment on YouTube or wherever you see this podcast episode, and we'll send you a copy of that so that you have a beautiful framework that you can create as a screensaver. So you're going to start using that life and business compass, and anything that's not on that, you're going to say no to. If you're invited to something that is a distraction and it's not aligned to where you are trying to go and what you are trying to achieve, you need to say no to it, because if you don't, eventually you'll have to say no to what is aligned on your calendar, what is aligned with your future goal and your compass. And we don't want that. So start using your compass. Second thing is choose the one most important thing for you to work on every single morning and achieve that distraction and interruption free. Because when we achieve that, it'll actually make all the dominoes behind it much faster, much easier. And when we choose that one thing that actually makes everything else in our day, our week, our month easier, we're able to achieve so much more. And that creates momentum. It creates energy. It creates excitement. It reminds us we are on track. We can succeed. We can get this thing done. So check that off the list. And then after that one thing is done, maybe you have a list of other things you want to do. The other pro tip I love to give my clients, and we dig really deep into this because it's not easy to figure out on your own, but you can start experimenting with this today, is to block schedule your time. After you achieve that one thing in the morning, block schedule and chunk your time together. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're a business owner and part of your job is content creation or solving problems, or perhaps there's some admin work in there or team delegation, you want to block schedule and chunk together similar activities and put them on your calendar. And you want to experiment with what time of day is the best time of day for you to create. What time of the day is the best time for you to do administrative work? And then block your schedule to deliver those at optimal times for your brain and who you are. For example, for me, writing and creating is best done first thing in the morning, as well as doing my morning routine, which is meditation, visualization, and exercise. When I do these things, my day is so much more excited, so much more aligned, and I feel inspired and I have so much more energy. And then my administrative tasks and other things usually are right after lunch when I'm a little bit tired because they're, pretty menial. They're just tedious. You have to get that done. So after lunch is easy to get those things checked off. And then I have specific days of the week and specific times that I do client-facing calls and client-facing conversations. Additionally, for our consulting work, where we're doing work for clients and not face-to-face, we block schedule specific days and times for me and the team to achieve those. So we're not going back and forth between calls and getting work done. This allows us to not switch back and forth on task decisions, not to exhaust our brains on decision. And furthermore, I have super thinking days twice a month, every other Friday, where I am working on the business. That might involve working with a team member to boost them up, to help them elevate on the operations side or the marketing side. That might involve, I'm seeing our sales cycle slowing. What can we do to get ahead of this? What tools do we need to implement? What past success factors can we repeat and grow even further from. So these are just a few ideas for experimenting with block scheduling your time, how to remove those distractions, and how to stay focused on what your legacy and your go forward compass looks like. Now, obviously, it takes time to fine tune these, to really get to a point of testing the hypothesis and become the expert of what is the best time blocking for Sally versus Tim. And this might also require some support and some help and the ability to see some blind spots that you're not even aware of. And that's oftentimes why we work with clients through these. However, this is the bulletproof formula. It's using your compass, building out your compass and using it, updating that quarterly because life changes all the time, experimenting in time blocking, choosing that one thing every single morning that's going to make everything else in your day, week, and month easier. And then repeat and rinsing and practicing and reflecting on what you learn from each day and what you learn from each week and each month. And then looking at success metrics over time on what you can fine tune to make even better. I guarantee if you implement this formula, you're going to feel better, have more energy, have more excitement, and see big results in terms of revenue, in terms of energy, and in terms of your team getting their swagger back as well. And I'd love to hear from you how it goes. Please share a comment, DM me, let me know what you get from this formula. If you love this and it hit the truth, send it to the most badass, overcommitted friend that you know. Let's share the love. And hit subscribe because this isn't your average productivity fluff. This is where burnout ends and real momentum begins. I'll see y'all soon.
Thank you for joining the show today. I hope you were inspired. More importantly, I hope you take action. If the show inspired you, I ask that you subscribe and share it with your network. Let's spread inspiration together today.